So welcome to week 3. We have covered a lot of ground, and we've got a lot of ground to cover tonight. So we are going to talk about your personal brand, resumes, your first day on the job, and starting your career. Now that's a lot of chapters, so don't forget you can take breaks since this is recorded. We're going to start off with that personal brand. You have a brand just like any company, any product, and we're going to talk about exactly what that's going to do for you. Now, in week 3, we're going to go over some assignments briefly here. You're going to talk about an ethics scenario where you're going to list 3 out of 10 workplace ethics that you're going to have. And that's very important because ethics are key to yourself and they play a part in the business that you're going to be in, and you're going to have to pay attention to what those are because you're going to have to support those business ethics if you agree with them or not. So that's key to where you're going to work. And then we're going to talk about disciplining and terminating employees, how you would handle certain situations, and the why behind those. So you're going to do those. Then your director Q&A, informational interview, part 2 of 2, the results. So this is a person who could be in management or a position of authority in any field. You will have interviewed them. You're going to give the results back on that. Now this is key to find out what it's like from the other side and get their insight on what it's like to be in that position. We're also going to be doing career plan step 2. This is where you do your short-term goals to support that long-term goal that you've had and you gave us in week 1. You're going to dig that back out. You're going to put those short-term goals to go along with it. And your mock interview debrief. You should have done a mock interview by now, and you will be debriefing yourself. Find out what you got out of it. If you didn't get something out of it, this is really unusual. Most people find it very informative. They find out pieces of information that they didn't realize they were doing in interviews that could help them even more, or possibly cause some issues that they may not have known about. So those are some of the things that are coming up in this week, but let's get on with our personal brand. And so when we talk about personal brands, we're going to talk about the importance of it, the steps for creating it, and the purpose of a personal commercial. So not only do you have a brand, you're going to have a commercial. And we're going to talk about those. So let's see what's going on with this personal brand. It's your reputation. So why don't we just call it that? Because it's got a little more to it than just that. It is your aptitudes, which we talked about earlier in the course, skills, abilities, your personality, and your values. Some of these we may like, some we may not like, and some we can improve upon. So it defines who you are, what differentiates you from others, and how others see you. That's a key point. How others see you. So it's not just your self-opinion, but it's how others see you. And personal branding helps build your reputation or brand. And that's desirable because it's going to help you succeed. So yeah, it does matter what people think about you, because sometimes that gets to your place of employment before you when you go to apply. Careers are big, but depending on the career, it can be a little bit smaller than you think, and people are going to find out about you before you get there. So we do this with a personal brand statement. This is one sentence. Hint, this is an exam question. Personal brand statement is one sentence, and that's going to describe you to an employer. And we do this by defining ourselves. We're going to list skills, and we're going to create descriptive phrases that talk about us and compile the words and phrases. Excuse me. Now some people go, that's a lot of work. I'm sorry, I thought you wanted a career. I wanted you to grow. You need to want these things too, and they don't come easy. You may think people just fall into careers, but it takes work, it takes effort. You want to succeed, you need to put in the work and effort. Don't think things are just handed to people. You don't know the behind the scenes of what really goes on. You just look at it from the front side where everything's easy, easy, easy. If there was a fast track to everything, don't you think people would be doing it? It's a lot easier to say, oh, it was easy, 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 but it's not, okay? So a brand statement should use keywords, and those keywords, we're going to talk about that a lot in this class, and we have already. Those keywords are words that are defined for your career. These are words that describe your career. And they may or may not always be the industry keywords, but it should be, what's your reputation? What is it that you want people to say when they mention your name? When someone says your name, do they say hardworking? Do they say dependable? Do they say, what is it that defines you when your name is said? List your skills, your hard skills, your soft skills. Narrow it down to your most important ones, okay? The ones that are relevant to your career. Create phrases that describe you, and then combine that into one phrase at the end. Is it the easiest thing to do? No. No one said it was. Good things are not necessarily easy. Some of the brand statements you're going to find in your book, right here, a production manager who implements soft skills to continually promote client-based customer-directed deliverables while maintaining the highest standard. Okay, that's a mouthful, but it describes a person, a creative problem solver. Tell them who you are, what you're going to do. Okay? Now, where do you put this brand statement? And how do you do it? Because a brand statement is your personal slogan. It describes you in one sentence. And you know what? You put that on your resume, your cover letter, your social media account. It goes everywhere. It's a quick way to describe you. Somebody asks you, how would you describe yourself? Boom. Okay? Now, personal commercial is a rehearsed introduction. Rehearsed. And it's going to give information about your background and about your goals. It's also called an elevator speech. You're going to hear this. Personal commercial or an elevator speech. Okay, notice the time, 30 to 60 seconds. Don't ramble on. It's called an elevator speech because picture yourself stepping into an elevator with somebody and it's moving up the building. 30 to 60 seconds, they're going to get out of that elevator. That's the time you have to sell yourself to that person, to tell them about you. And it can have two functions: to network for a job, or to ask advice. Can you give me information on blah blah blah? I'm looking for a position, blah blah blah. Okay? This personal commercial answers the question, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Your personal commercial should include the title of the job you are looking for. Okay? Let them know you're looking for a job. Your skills. Okay? The area. Are you looking for a local? Are you looking for a different area? Tell them. If you're asking for advice, tell them what advice you're looking for. Don't make them guess. That's not their job. They're here to offer advice. And be polite and let them know your availability. Okay? So how do you develop this personal commercial? Okay, we start by looking at your brand statement. You have to have that brand statement. Summarize your soft and hard skills. Determine what you want from this person and state your motivations. I want to move up. I'm looking for a better job. I want to advance my career. Tell them what you want. This isn't guessing. You're not waiting for someone to give you something. You tell them what you want. This is your career. You drive it. You need to be motivated and push for it. If you go out there and go, I don't know, I'm kind of looking for it, that doesn't cut it. You have to be the motivation behind it. State motivations. You can't say it enough. You have to do this. And you can do this. That's the thing. You can. I believe in you. We have to believe in ourselves. So here's an idea. A marketing professional who's dedicated to creating jaw-dropping promotions. That's their brand statement. This is what I do. Their personal commercial blows up into something much bigger. My name, I am Susan Roskowski, an assistant marketing product manager with a degree in marketing communications from Baylor University. I'm located in the greater Houston area and looking for a career in an advertising agency. My skills include, you can see, told you who she was, what she's looking for, where she's at. Here are my skills, and this is what I am. Boom. Break it down. Take who you are and expand it. I'll tell you, your first ones might not be the best, but like any skill, we practice. Now, you may want to take a little break, but we are going to go on to resumes. Everybody needs a resume. What's the purpose? Keywords, sections, types, formats, non-traditionals, and a professional reference. Some people go, I don't need a resume. Okay. Everybody else is wrong and you're right. We'll leave it at that. Everybody else who wants to advance, you got a resume, you're going to need it. It's a written document. Lists your individual qualifications, including work experience and education. It's to convince a potential employer that you match the qualifications. Keep it updated, okay? Keep it updated. Every single time you make a new job or you do something, update it. You move, update it. Get a new phone number, update it. These are called living documents because they keep changing. You don't create one and it stays forever. They're constantly on the change. So you do these things. You're going to constantly be changing, constantly updating. You are updating them for every job application, and sometimes you'll create a resume because every time you send something out for somebody, you're going to modify it a little bit to make sure it fits them. One size does not fit all. Okay? So you can update it and modify it to fit whoever you're sending it out to. Okay, keywords. There are keywords that you want to include. And I'm going to send out keywords to everybody to use for their careers. And these are words that relate to the open position you're applying for. Electricians have very specific keywords. Welders have keywords. These are words that pertain to your job, and you need to be looking for them and using them. Because when you're applying online, what's going to happen is they're going to be using these keywords to search your resumes. If your resumes do not have these keywords, you will be skipped. And they are important to the job, okay? And they're often nouns and noun phrases. So you need to get used to reading job advertisements and looking for those keywords. Because if you're not including them, they're not going to include your resume when they do the job searches. Okay? So, check for those trending keywords and phrases. It's very, very important. and they do change. So here's some examples of keywords, and again, I'm going to send you out lists of them. So logistics manager, Microsoft Word, networking, project management, volunteer. You get the picture. These words should be in your list of things that you use. Okay? Be specific on your descriptions. Don't say, I'm good at this. That doesn't cut it. Say, I have the following skills, and list those skills. Okay? Assist in monthly closing process by preparing journal entries, reports. Notice these are key words. These are very specific things that they are looking for. Honesty, responsibility, integrity. These are the key words. They will search for these words, and if you don't have enough keywords that match what they're searching, you will be skipped. Okay? So that's what ADT is. It's not security. Okay? This is an exam question. Automatic data tracking. Okay? Automatic tracking pulls resumes in for them to review, and it's searching for those keywords. Another thing to find out, you're going to need to update your resumes and your applications. Update every Sunday. So if you apply for something this week, next week, you're outdated. Go back in, reapply. Update every Sunday, because when they pull data, you will be missed the next week. They only pull new data. Okay? Resume sections include the heading, professional summary, profiles, your skills, your education, your experience, etc. Okay? So let's talk about those. Your headings, your name, your phone number, your email address. Okay, and you can say where you are as far as in Central Florida, South Florida, or Florida, etc. Do not put your whole address. That's a safety issue. We don't do that anymore. Okay? Don't put your identity as far as in your full address. Tell them what job you want. Tell them. Okay? And the career objective, you tell them, this is the job I'm looking. Do not say, looking for a job in. Okay? You say, searching for a career in blah, blah, blah. Career-minded individual seeking position in. Don't say, looking for a job in. Reword things. Make it sound more professional. It doesn't matter which career you're in. All careers deserve the respect. No career here is above any other career. No career out there is above your career. Sometimes people think trade careers are not as valuable, and they could be far, far from that. Skills, both hard and soft. When you list these, try to put bullets. Okay, a bullet is like a little circle listing them down. If you have a lot, make multiple columns. Don't just eat up page after page of everything. And try to list the most wanted items. Don't just list everything. List the most important ones and move those to the top. The ones the employer wants to see the most, put those up at the top up there. That way they don't have to go looking for them. Okay, move them up there. Top skills, go up top. And they should have keywords in them, again, because you're trying to get those trackers to search for them. Your education, okay? Education comes after the skills. If you're no longer a student, you start listing your diploma or degree first, the year you got it, the type, and the school name with the city and state. You don't have to have the full address. That's the school name, city, and state. If you're still in school, if you're still a student here, you say the expected graduation date. You don't have to wait to graduate to have a resume and list the education. Some people think you have to wait. We don't play the waiting game. Experience, company name and organization, city and state. You don't have to have the full address again. We don't do that anymore. Your start and end dates of employment, and 3 to 5 major job duties. Major. And use keywords if possible. It's okay to have blank spaces and as far as time on your resume. They used to say you can't have skips in employment dates. You can. If you had a year where you weren't working, you can have those dates. They used to say no. Special skill section could include volunteer work or special military experience. If you had unique military experience, that's where that would go. Okay? Now, resume formats. Okay? They can be timeline, so chronological. That's date and time order. Or they could go in a skills or functional. Those are also known by achievements, things like that, or a functional resume. Okay, you list the most or strongest experience and skills first, and then the least ones going down. Okay, combination resume is exactly as it sounds, combination of both timeline and skills, and it emphasizes your strengths of the more recent work experience. I usually recommend this unless you have a lot of education behind it. That's your skills and functional, and then your education, or a combination. But list your skills and function in order of importance. Okay, now this kind of gets a little bit confusing for someone. Make sure you save and back up a master copy of your resume. This will be a copy you don't send to employers. When you're sending one to an employer, you don't send a working document as a Microsoft Word. Do not send a Word document to an employer. You send a PDF. If you're in Word, there's an option to send it as a PDF. This keeps your file intact, including your formatting, and it protects it from changes. Okay? So you save yours as a Word document so you can easily change it. But when you go to send it out, so when you send it, it's PDF. Microsoft Word, yes for you, no for everyone else. Now, if you're going to put stuff up on monster.com or any place else, you can save it as plain text. Any of those resume sites. Then what happens when you upload this plain text version, and again this is a version that they save in Word, when you upload it to that, it will fill out almost all of the prompts in monster.com for you. So it will save you some effort. Non-traditional resumes are ones that are web-based and visual. These are uncommon. And they tend to be for more, I would say, creative or artistic lines of work. They tend to be more visual oriented and graphically appealing. Okay? And the main thing is a lot of times they cannot be scanned or viewed easily by some people. So, create yourself a checklist before posting. Confirm what you're going to use. Proofread. There's proofreaders in all your software. Okay, got a little technical issue there. So before posting a resume, confirm the type you're going to use. Proofread it. Every software has a proofreader. Spell check it. There's a spell checker in your software. Read each line. Spell checkers and proofreading. Another part, read it. Make sure that it makes sense. Confirm your formatting. Check to make sure it doesn't go crazy when you change formats. And use this checklist that you just created. Now, we hear the term references, okay? So you have professional references. These are people who know your skills, talents, or personal traits. These are not just your best friend. A professional reference needs to be someone who knows your work. So please make sure it's okay to get a professional reference. Some businesses do not allow professional references outside of their human resources. Find out who can do it and is willing to do it. Don't just spring it on them where they get a phone call out of nowhere. Make sure they know they are being used as a professional reference. So please let them know and make sure that they are aware. And make a list of those people. Have that information ready when you go to an interview. Okay? Have it with you. And this is what that document would look like. Be ready with copies to provide whoever is doing your interview. Now, before we start chapter 13, this is a good time for you to take a break there before we continue. And we are going to go on and do our next chapter. First day on a new job. We think we got this. And you can get it, but there are things that happen. Evaluations, ways to be safe, and update that professional network. So let's talk about this. Day one, it can be overwhelming. Yeah, it's exciting too, but it can be much for some people. Some people hate it. You're going to meet your co-workers. You're going to get to know the facility. Always make sure you know where the restrooms are. Okay, ask before you need them, because you may not have the time or somebody around if you wait. Okay, make a positive first impression. Okay, don't be the person who gets there and says, oh, I'm my last place, my last place, my last place, my last place. They will want you to go to that last place. They won't necessarily want you at the new place. So be aware of that. Okay. Find out about your badge, where to park, dress code, work hours, things like that. So be aware of those. Be on time. Be positive. Don't be fearful. Be positive. This is a good thing. You wanted this. You should not be accepting jobs you don't want. Okay? Be enthusiastic and want to be part of the team. Ask questions to make sure you understand. If you don't understand, let them know. They can't help you if they don't know they should be. Okay? You're probably going to have to fill out forms. Lots of forms. Maybe videos. But you know what? It's a part of growing you. Okay? Now, you're probably going to have to do a form I-9. And you're going to have to do a W-4. Pay attention. These questions are missed all the time, and it's very important. The I-9 is an employment eligibility, and it's make sure that you can work in the United States. It must be completed and signed in front of Human Resources. Okay? That's the requirement, in front of a representative from Human Resources. and ID is required. Not within 3 days or this or that. It has to be done in front of human resources. A lot of misconception on that. That is an exam question. You need to know this. Okay? W-4. Okay? They need to know your marital status and number of dependents. Marital status and number of dependents. People will tell you, oh, you need to put this number down, that number down, that. Okay, law says marital status, number of dependents. How you think that you need to answer to try to get more money back and this and that. Law says this, okay? Training and onboarding. Woohoo! Everybody's favorite stuff. Maybe done in a group, maybe one-on-one, maybe left with you by yourself, okay? If you have questions about things, ask. You are responsible for things even if you don't ask. Always remember that. Just like in this class, if you don't ask or you don't read something, you are still responsible for that information. Okay? Just like laws. Okay? Ignorance is not an excuse for not knowing or doing something. You are responsible. Okay? So please ask questions about what you need to do. You might be given a workspace. Find out, are you allowed to customize it? Do you have to leave it as is? Are you allowed to have a phone, no phone, music, no music, earbuds, no earbuds? All these things, find out before you just assume, and then they have to tell you, you can't do that. Are you allowed to have food, no food, drinks, no drinks? Make sure you find out. Okay? Update your networking. Update LinkedIn or any of your professional networks, and update your social networks. Make sure people know you got a new job. Okay? Simple as that. Workplace ethics. Ethics and principles or beliefs that direct a person's behavior. Workplace ethics, code of conduct, code of ethics. We have gone over this before. Okay? The ethics are the beliefs or principles that direct your behavior. Workplace ethics are what defines what's appropriate in the business setting. Okay? So you have ethics, and then there's workplace ethics. Okay? Ethical behavior calls for honesty, it calls for fairness, reliability, respect, courage, tolerance, civility, and compassion. So we talked about this in week 1. And that was a long ago, so we need to revisit it here. Unethical behavior, cheating on exams, stealing office supplies, surfing the internet on company time without their permission, returning used merchandise to a store for a refund. That is unethical and sometimes illegal. Okay? Companies outline ethical behavior. Code of conduct. Code of conduct right here. Okay, so a code of conduct dictates how an employees are to behave. This is employees behave. Okay, so that's your code of conduct. Code of ethics is a document that dictates how business is conducted. Now, if you Google these, you're going to get all kinds of answers that may be inappropriate to this class. So when you encounter these on the exam, make sure you have the right answers for this class. Unethical and illegal behaviors includes discrimination and harassment. Discrimination's unfair treatment of an individual based on his, her race, gender, religion, national origin, disability, or age. And harassment is unsolicited conduct. So this is treatment, and this is conduct. All right. And like I said, we went over that in week 1. Now, a performance evaluation is a formal process, and it's designed to evaluate your performance, execution of duty, and it's also interaction with employees. That's becoming more important. How well do you get along with your fellow employees? How are you managing, working with them and them with you? Okay, and generally conducted as a formal meeting with a manager or supervisor. You can ask for a copy typically early to see what you're going to be evaluated on so you can work on those things. And if needed, talk to them ahead of time. Find out what you're going to be evaluated on. Workplace safety, okay? Falling hazards, lifting hazard, material storage hazards, and ergonomics are all becoming key things in working places, okay? Falls are the most common. People fall. Close your drawers on cabinets, things like that. People come by, trip over them all too often. Don't stand on chairs or a box to reach for something. Rugs, cords, mats, everywhere. Watch where you're walking and keep them out of the way. Okay, don't run them across walk paths. Lifting hazards. Most back injuries, we're lifting wrong. It doesn't have to be heavy, but we lift it wrong. Make several small trips with items instead of one heavy one. Use dollies, hand carts whenever possible. Who are we proving anything to by picking up something heavy or awkward? Lift with the legs, not with the back, and never carry things that block our view. You know how you see the boxes stacked up in front of us? It's silly. Shouldn't do it. Material storage. Okay, some of these things. Storage of files, books, other equipment, or items stacked up high on top of something. Don't put heavy things on top of light things. Don't put things up high. Stack them where they should be or on, proper sized tables. Cluttered workplaces. Okay, if you're working in labs, you're working in workshops, things like that. Sparks, things like this can cause all kinds of problems. You have to be careful. So cleaned areas are part of, besides looking nice, they're safe. That's why they want you to do these things. Okay. Keep aisles and hallways clear. 2 feet around the corner of something, don't set objects so people come around the corner and immediately they trip on them. Okay. And some people have never heard of ergonomics. And what they're doing here is they're showing, see, your eyes go straight across. Your screen should not be down so that you're putting strain on the back of your neck. You should be in alignment here. Okay? This should be in alignment so that you have great posture. If you're not sitting properly, you can cause yourself back injuries. All right, so we are going into our last chapter tonight, chapter 14, starting your career. Seems like we've been talking about this all the way through. What's so different? Well, some things we need to go over. Professionalism, the generations in our workplaces, and some actions to guarantee our success. So what is professionalism? We hear it, we think we have it, but do we? It's a soft skill, actually, and it's judgment, character, behavior expected, and it includes our workplace skills and self-management skills. Okay? So some of those skills in the workplace are basic thinking skills, or people skills, being on time, because our punctuality, if we are late, that puts a strain on other workers that are having to do more work, and it creates resentment. It can cause you problems with your employer. They may have to do write-ups. Dependability. This is your ability to be reliable and trustworthy. If somebody asks you to do something and you say you will and then you don't, now they're doubting if they can trust you again. So dependable is accomplishing what needs to be done, keeping your word, being honest and having integrity, doing your share of the workload. Putting work off on somebody else, that's not being clever. They won't want you around, and they can remove you because of that. Okay? Work smarter, not harder. Prioritize tasks. All these things come under self-management. You know, your own personal control. Emotional regulation. Okay? Think about that. You should be able to control your own emotions. If you have a temper, you better not at work. You need to control yourself. It's not appropriate. It's not professional. It's not acceptable. People don't have to accept your temper. Okay? Now, most professions, you're going to have a multi-generational workplace. And this is incredible. We learn from different generations. It's a great thing. We have 5 generations in the workforce today right now. Silent generation, baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, which are also called millennials, and Gen Z. These are the most common ones right now. Okay? So, the book says there's 4, but the test will say 5. So it's a good thing you're watching this. Okay? Silent generation. So 1920 to 55, or to 39, sorry. That's when they were born. That's a long time. They're about 2% of the workforce. So they're leaving the workforce. Some are still part-time enrolls. They value traditions and history, and they believe in hard work. Okay, baby boomers are from 40 to 59. 1940 to 59. We've heard of the boomers. Some people use boomer as an insult. It's far from it. They are 29% of the workforce still, folks. More of them out there than you realize. And they're approaching retirement age, but a lot will still working. They believe in starting from the bottom, and they work themselves up. So you have respect for them. They're ambitious and they're loyal. They believe in you stay with one company. Kind of a strange thing. You don't change career. And they will sacrifice for anything to do with that company. Okay? And then we have Gen X. And they were 1960 to 79. And Gen X, they're 32%. So these people are around, and they're not as loyal to companies as the others were. They tend to not stick with one company the way the boomers did. They tend to go on. They tend to switch careers, and they were did something unique. They were the first generation that insisted on a positive work-life balance. So they changed something. They were the first generation to say, no, I'm not giving everything up to a company. Then Gen Ys. Gen Ys came around 1980s, and they went to 1999 with their little red Corvettes and partying with Prince. All right, okay. Now, they are efficient multitaskers. They value that positive work-life balance, and they are 34% of the workforce. And you grew up with technology, okay? And you want technological skills in the workplace and do it better than the rest that came before. So better technology than everybody else. And then comes Gen Z. Gen Z gets a bad rap. And this is from 2000 on. People say Gen Zs are lazy, also known as the I generation. And I stick up for Gen Zs because I see the results. And they are not lazy, folks, so please don't lump a group in and say something like that. I've seen just the opposite. The thing with Gen Z is they want to be recognized, and everybody should be recognized for their contributions, okay? Everybody should get noticed for what they've done and what they contribute. That's vital, okay? But they're less motivated by money. They want to live for the experience. And they're more aware of surroundings and things because of technology. So they use technology in different ways. Now, discipline and determination. When you are in a job, you're going to be given company policies and procedures and a handbook. And you're going to sign that handbook, and you are responsible for everything in that. Just know that if you don't read that, you are responsible for it. I have to sign them too. I'm responsible for what's in there, if I read it or not. Now, Florida is a right to work state. They don't have to give you warnings. They don't have to do this. They don't have to do that. But if it's in the handbook, they have to live by the rules of the handbook as well. They may have to give you a verbal warning. They may have to give you written warning, suspensions, and then termination. Or they may not. They can go directly here, all depending on what's in your handbook. Read these handbooks, okay? So, sometimes discipline policies can work for you. They can work against you. Know what is in yours. You're going to spend a lot of hours in your career. Take charge. Have realistic expectations. Know what you're getting into, what to expect, what hours, what you're going to have to endure. Are you going to be working in hot environments, cold environments, messy environments? And keep those expectations in check. Continue your professional development. Some are going to be required by law, certification requirements, etc. Keep learning more in your career and growing it. And you've got this because it is your career.